This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Well, good morning and welcome to the aforementioned Grow Omaha show. I'm Jeff Beals, your co-host from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, outstanding commercial and residential roofing services for all sorts of building owners. So anyway, great fall morning, a great time of year, and so many wonderful things happening in our city. So you're really going to enjoy this show because we talk about the growth and development of Omaha and the surrounding area. And without any further ado, it's time to introduce my co-host, a man who is absolutely legendary when it comes to doing real estate deals and making business happen, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning, Trenton. And before we go any further, you want to share some restaurant news because everyone loves our restaurant news.
Well, I thought that this is kind of a cool thing. It's always good when you see it, when there's an empty restaurant space and you drive by it and it's full. And so last night we were at a party downtown and we drove by the Flatiron, the old Flatiron restaurant, which permanently closed, as we know, during COVID last year. But there's a pop-up in there, and it's called House of Ba. You can find him on Facebook, B-A-H, and it's a chef. It's African culinary heritage in the heart of the city, and they were last night, tonight 5 to 10, and Sunday brunch 10 to 2. So look up House of Ba. That's 17th and Howard, and something fun, something different. So it's good to get the word out there, and thanks to Stacy Winters for giving me the information from Omaha Food Lovers. They're like almost 70,000 members. So I encourage everyone to go look on Facebook to Omaha Food Lovers. It's a popular site. I'm on there, and great culinary information.
I can't remember which week, but sometime in the next few weeks, Stacy's going to be on the show to talk all things restaurant. That's one of my favorites. Whenever we have Stacy on the show, I have a lot of favorite shows, but that's one of my favorite shows because we just geek out on food and we talk about all these restaurants and food choices. And I'm always ravenous, starving at the end of that show. So I have to run out and eat the first bit of food that's outside of the KFAB studio. At any rate, Trenton, we have an official opening for Reebok at Nebraska Crossing. And Reebok will open on November 18th. This is going to be the only store that Reebok opens in Nebraska, at least as they plan right now. And they've chosen Nebraska Crossing for obvious reasons. It's located along Interstate 80, and it is such a hot and growing place. And I know I keep saying this because people keep saying, they say, hey, when are these big retail announcements going to happen? You've been talking about Nebraska Crossing.
Yeah, we've been teasing those for a while.
They're going to happen. We just are waiting for the green light. I know who they are. You know who they are.
I know who they are.
We know who they are. I guess killing me not to just say who they are, but we know who they are, but we don't have the green light yet. So
we can't tell you yet.
We're going to tell you as soon as we can, and they're cool brand names. And one of them in particular is going to be like people, whoa. Glad that one is in the market. But the other one is a great name. At any rate, if you don't have your fast cash option on your Nebraska Crossing app yet, get that done. You want to go ahead and not procrastinate on that anymore. Open up your Nebraska Crossing app, tie a credit card, enter a credit card, tie it to your app, use that credit card every time you go to the mall, and you'll get 15% cash back. And don't forget, every once in a while, certain retailers will even bump it up higher than 15%. But that cash back you can use at any of the retailers in the mall. And Trenton, it's like free money.
Yeah.
Which is the best kind of money to get. All right, we're going to go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage knows mortgages, and they've known mortgages for the past 30 years. They've been doing it for a while. Holly Schneidewin and her team there are outstanding. A lot of customer service focus. They realize that it can be kind of stressful buying a house or getting ready to buy a house. And so they really work with you. I know, most people, they probably only buy a few houses over the course of an entire lifetime. So they'll coach you through it, counsel you through it, work with you to get that pre-approval letter. FHA, VA, conventional loans are all on the table. And you can find them at eaglemortgagecompany.com. uncut.com.
People are buying houses. I have 3 close friends that are buying houses right now, like they're value priced.
Well, yeah, and we have just a few people in our office that are buying houses. I mean, one coworker said yesterday he closed at 8:00 a.m. yesterday. We've got another coworker who closes on a new house on Monday.
Moving closer to the office.
Yeah, that's right. We expect that coworker to show up at the office quite a bit now.
Absolutely.
And be early because that coworker's right across Dodge Street from the office. Hope that coworker's listening. Well, Trenton, let's get into this. And let's talk first about Generations. This is a new development by Warner Park.
Yeah, a BHI development. Jerry Torzon's group, very prolific developer, good guy, and it'll be a heck of a project. This is something I was involved with early, that area over by Warner Park, home of the Storm Chasers, and what is that, Omaha Union Soccer Club?
That would be Union Omaha.
Union Omaha. And this is 126th and Highway 370. This is the baseball park area. This is the 60 acres in front of that. It's been a long time coming, but BHI is going to develop it into a mixed-use development. They're going to have about 400 apartments. They're going to have 1 or 2 parking garages at least, and they're going to have retail, office, and it'll be developed over a few years, I think. But it's kind of everything's been kind of closing in from you've got Shadow Lake on 72nd Street. You've got other developments at the interstate, and it's kind of all coming in towards this area. So it'll be a good development. You got a lot of residential stock, that Prairie Queen development around there. You got the lakes around there. And so this will be a good infill area, and but it'll be done over time.
60 acres. And Trenton, if you look at the site plan, it actually has 2 hotel buildings designated on there. So that'll be interesting because hospitality is an industry that is in great flux, but is still showing a lot of promise. It'll be interesting to see if both of those hotels happen and how long it'll take.
Yeah, I could definitely see 1 or 2 limited service hotels there.
Well, let's do some national real estate news. CoStar is always nice enough to provide us some national information on the real estate market, and I know a lot of people like hearing that. And this week we're talking about weekend travelers driving up hotel occupancy last week. This is encouraging. We just mentioned hotels. The industry has been kind of experiencing a roller coaster existence over the past year and a half.
It's payback for them right now.
Yeah, I suppose
they're definitely charging the rates.
Payback in a good way for them.
Well, payback, yeah, because they're getting the room rates.
Weekly occupancy rose 2.2 percentage points last week to 63.9%. That's respectable.
Is that week over week, month over month, or
week over week? And room rates followed with an increase of $3.50. So that's a big jump up. Average rate is now $134 for hotels nationwide, all classes of hotels combined. And weekend occupancy hit 79%, a 4-point increase from the previous weekend. So
it went
big
up
jump up.
It went up about a gallon of gas.
It went up about a gallon. $3.50. That's some cheap gas. No, just kidding. Actually,
we're at like a 7-year high.
In some parts of the country, it is. But I noticed I fueled up this week, and I think if I can remember correctly, it was $2.99. Does that sound about right? $2.99 at the Hy-Vee by our office.
There you go.
So I think that's what it was. I've never been one of those persons that always remembers the gas price. I'm always one of those persons like, well, whatever it is, I've got to have it. Right. And then at the end you look and you say, oh, damn, that's a big gas bill. Because I also am one of those.
You're not using the 91 octane like I usually have to.
No. I use the cheapest stuff I can possibly get. So what do you pay for your stuff?
It just
high
depends
roller?
on where I go.
Well, what about $3.50? What is it?
Whatever the good price is at Anderson Convenient Mart.
Yeah. All right. Well, you high rollers pay a lot for that gas.
No. I go to Anderson, so it's good price.
Okay, so let's also talk about a very well-known and well-loved shopping center in Omaha that's on the sale block. One Pacific Place is for sale right now.
For only $33 million, I believe.
If you want to have your own mall, here's some information that you need to know. We'll tell you about One Pacific Place here. It is 103rd and Pacific. It is listed by an out-of-town real estate company, one of the biggest real estate companies in the United States, JLL. The whole mall is 91,000 feet, and according to JLL's marketing materials, it's 93.4% occupied. I had no idea it was that high. But they did say in the marketing information that 5 leases totaling 12,000 square feet have been signed so far in 2021. I don't think all of those have been announced.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what those are. And they probably lost a couple tenants during COVID and
they did.
Whatever else.
They did, I think, a handful of them. And then there were a handful of vacancies prior to COVID, if I remember correctly. Now, they talk about Trader Joe's being the anchor tenant, and I would think Trader Joe's is a very desirable tenant. It's the only one in the whole metro area. So, Trenton, I don't know if you remember this. What year was One Pacific Place constructed?
Were we just around high school time? Or were we?
We were out. Trenton and I graduated in 1987 from high school.
So you think that? So I'll do the over/under. I'll do 1990.
You're very close. 89.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 1989, which is hard to believe that much time goes by. Because I can remember when
32 years.
Yeah. And don't you remember when it first opened? There were so many.
I remember the Renstrom farm there. I remember the horse farm there.
Remember they had the white cows? The cows were white that were there.
No way.
Yeah, it was some sort of herd or something like that.
You couldn't see them in the winter. It was crazy.
They blended. But kind of like polar bears, though. It was kind of a dirty white. You could still see them in the winter.
Okay.
But when One Pacific Place opened, it was the place that brought a lot of brand names to Omaha that didn't exist here prior. If I remember correctly, like even Banana Republic and Eddie Bauer and some of those, that was the first time they were ever here.
Do you remember the now, not all development developed that area, master plan the development, and they started it. But do you remember the national company that developed it? It was also billed as one of the first lifestyle shopping centers. Can you name the name of the lifestyle developer that did it?
I don't, and I've got a feeling as soon as you say it, I'm going to go, oh, yeah. So
I think it was Pogan McEwen.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's, but yes.
Why I remember that, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know.
Meanwhile, there are like thousands of Omahans taking notes right now. I need to know that Pogan McEwen for my cocktail party tonight. But yeah, it's been a big success, and it'll be interesting to see how it transitions. I think One Pacific Place still has a lot of mileage on it, and has good bones, and it's a great spot.
It's one of the few cancer survivor parks next to it as well.
Yeah, you don't see one of those on every corner.
Oh, beautiful place.
Moving right along, we've got some construction coming here to Dundee, and that is a 4-story mixed-use building going to be located right on the main drag, Underwood Avenue, but a little bit east of where most of the downtown business activity is in downtown Dundee. So I'll give you a little bit of information on that. It is going to be the exact address, 4907 Underwood Avenue. Street level retail with apartments on the upper floors. Developers have to tear down one existing residential building. It's either single family or could be, I'm not sure, it could be one of those single family houses that are common around here where they shoved a bunch of apartments in it. But a building that when it was built was at least a single family house. That's coming down. But like I said, 4 stories. So this, I think, will kind of take that retail and commercial activity in Dundee and pull it a little further east.
Yeah, it's good. The density is good as well.
So the other thing that might surprise some people when it comes to development projects, plans call for the Exarban Suites by Wyndham at 7270 Cedar Street. A lot of people probably don't even know this place exists, but it's a 6-story hotel. It's just kind of tucked back in there. And if you don't look and crank your head to the left on 72nd Street, if you're going north, you don't even see it. But they're going to take this and repurpose it into a 181-unit apartment building. Of those, 169 will be studio apartments, 12 will be 2-bedroom apartments. Anyway, this is, like I said, 6 stories, 152,000 square feet. At various times, it was an Embassy Suites, and then for a while it was Doubletree Suites.
Yep.
But Trenton, do you remember what it was called when you and I were little kids and it was brand new? It was an actual chain.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
HJ's.
Huh?
Howard Johnson's?
No. It could have been owned by Howard Johnson's, perhaps, but it was Granada Royale
Okay.
Hometel.
Okay.
Roger Olson, do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember the Granada Royale?
Oh, yeah.
I remember the name.
A lot of post-prom parties ended up there.
Do you remember what a big deal that was when that thing opened?
Yeah, it really was.
We would go as a family.
Was that the first name of it?
I believe so. Wasn't it
Granada.
built? Yeah, wasn't it built to be because I looked this up when we were putting the newsletter together this week, and there was one in El Paso, Texas. There was one in Scottsdale. There was one here, and just a couple other cities. There weren't many Granada Royales, but I can remember as a little kid going in there when it was new, and it had that atrium that went all the way to the ceiling, and it was decorated in a Spanish motif.
So the Howard Johnson. What is the Howard Johnson's now?
The Howard Johnson was where the DoubleTree is now on.
That's what confused me.
Yeah, because there is a DoubleTree, not DoubleTree Suites, regular DoubleTree on I-80 and 72nd.
Right.
I figure you would remember Granada Royale.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I just grew up over by Xarban, so it was in the neighborhood. But, yeah, it was kind of a unique deal because it was like a suites hotel. I mean, it was kind of considered
Yeah, it was ahead of
pretty
its
nice.
time.
They had like cocktail hours in the atrium for, a
Yeah.
while. I don't think they did breakfast at that point, but we're talking late 70s.
Yeah, or maybe even mid-70s.
Mid to late. I think it was after the tornado
Okay.
that it was built.
So it had the Playboy Club across the parking lot, basically.
Playboy Club was at the Sheraton.
Yeah, that was at the Sheraton at
120th and L.
120th.
Of all people, I can't believe you would screw that up. I figure you would know exactly where the Playboy Club
Because
was.
it was Ted Selden that had both of those. That's why.
Well, Ted Selden, I don't believe ever had the Granada, but he had
Oh, he had the Howard Johnson.
the Hojo by the interstate, and then, like you said, they had the Sheraton, and Ted did have that Playboy Club, or they were a tenant for him.
2 or 3 of them, other places as well.
Gosh, this is good memory lane stuff. So, all right, it's 9:23. We got to work a break in here. We're going to do that. When we come back, Trenton and I are going to talk about some interesting economic development statistics. Yes, you can use the word interesting and statistics together in the same sentence. Don't worry, it will be interesting. You don't want to miss any of it. All sorts of stuff coming up. Stay with us. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Yeah, I can remember we would go have Sunday brunch at that Village Inn on 72nd and Mercy in those days, every weekend. Yeah, and when it was new, we walked over there. My grandma was with us, and we walked in, and we were all just like, can't believe this place. It was just so amazing. And if you look it up, when I did the newsletter, I looked it up. You can find old photographs of what it looked like in the 70s in there.
So what is that now? The DoubleTree, right?
Now it's the Exarban Suites.
The DoubleTrees are where the Howard Johnson was.
Yeah, but before it was the Exarban Suites, it was the DoubleTree Suites.
Yeah.
And before that, it was
That's the
an
confusing
Embassy
part,
Suites. For a long time, it was an Embassy Suites. Years, it was an Embassy Suites. In fact, I'm pretty sure it switched straight from Granada Royale to Embassy Suites, if I remember.
That's right.
Because it was Embassy Suites for a long time.
The design of it had a bit of a John Q. Hammond's
Yeah, a bit of a look.
hotel look to it before John Q. Hammond's was building this part.
But if you Google Granada Royale, the one in Scottsdale shows up, the one in El Paso shows up, and the Omaha one shows up. And then it looked like
None of them exist anymore, do they?
I don't think so. And in fact, it was fun to look at the logo of the sign. It was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that place was something else.
Well, like I said, a lot of post-prom
Would go there.
parties ended up there because this is before the days of the lock-ins, and, the safe no drinking. It was no holds barred. People, at the party room up fourth, fifth floor, throwing up over into the atrium. You had to be careful and walk along the wall underneath the steps.
Because you didn't want to have a fountain of chuck coming down on your head from the 6th floor.
All the high school students.
Oh, we're back.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan inviting you to join me for the Oscar Online show this Friday night during the football season from 6 to 7 right here on Big Red Radio 1110 KFAB.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. We're from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. Show's also brought to you by D&M Roofing. You can find them at dandmroofing.com. Well, we are going to talk a little bit in this segment about some information that the Greater Omaha Economic Development Partnership shares with company decision makers who are thinking about relocating to Omaha, expanding to Omaha, or when they're convincing these company decision makers to stay in Omaha when they're trying to retain them. So I thought some of these things would be a little bit interesting. And, you know, I was going to do a little Stump the Tone Star with them. Tone Star is one of my nicknames for Trenton.
Great, now everyone knows.
Oh, we've said that before.
Yeah, I know.
If you ever call him Tone Star, he will turn his head and acknowledge you. But professionally, he's Trenton. But we're going to talk about some of the things on here. Demographics. Let's see here. Projected growth in Omaha from year 2010 to year 2035 is over 20%.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. U.S. average is 18.5. I'm kind of thinking that U.S. average is a little high.
Yeah, generous.
The U.S. has been slowing down a lot lately in its population growth. But I don't know.
Not Omaha, though.
No. I mean, Omaha's population growth from the 2020 census significantly outpaced national growth. And like we said, and we are not trying to disparage our Iowa listeners. We love our Iowa listeners. But if you don't count the Iowa side of the metro area, which grew very, very slowly, and you just did Douglas and Sarpy counties, our growth rate would be several percentage points higher because those two counties grew like wildfire. Douglas County, 13%, and Sarpy County, 20%. So those ones were fast growers.
We'll take more.
We need more. Cost of living is 6.4% below the national average. And how does that compare to some other cities? The Greater Omaha Economic Development Partnership in this marketing piece provides that information for Minneapolis. So we're 6.4% below the national average. Minneapolis is 5.1% above. Dallas is only 6% above. I figured that would have been a little higher, but Dallas is such a great economy. Chicago, 23% above the national average for cost of living. Los Angeles, 47% above the cost of living for the national average. And Trenton, what do you think San Francisco is? Ballpark.
63%.
No, it's actually way higher than that. 92%. So
higher to live in San Francisco.
Yeah, 92% higher than the national average cost of living.
So these are just now when you think about the quality of life, and Omaha really is a 20-minute city when it comes to getting around, and when you talk about how much time people spend in their cars, when you talk about crime rates, when you talk about the different things that just affects everybody's psyche, in the COVID response and things and the recovery from that, Omaha is faring very well.
Oh, goodness gracious. I couldn't agree more. Smart asset. You always have to be really careful when you say that. Smart asset.
You are a smart asset to us.
Thank you. Ranked Omaha as number 2 on the list of America's best mid-sized cities for 2020. All right, employment growth. Since 2007, from 2007 to 2025, so part of this, I guess, is a projection.
We're futuristic here.
38,541 new jobs. And Greater Omaha produces more than $51 billion of goods and services each year. That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
GDP growth. In a couple of particular areas. Let's actually just focus on this 2 areas here. One will be finance and insurance. So GDP growth from 2015 to 2019 in the finance and insurance sector of the economy was 2.3% in the United States. That growth in Omaha was 21.7%.
Wow.
So insurance and finance have grown at pretty much 10 times the national average from 2015 to 2019. And the information industry, IT, and that tech stuff was almost as impressive, 18.3% growth in Omaha over the last 5 years.
We've seen it in our business, and we've seen companies, local companies, really expand in those finance and insurance industries and new companies coming in.
Absolutely. We're seeing that drives a lot of the construction in the marketplace.
Applied underwriters.
All right. 34% of adults in the United States have a bachelor's degree. 38% have one in Omaha. Goods and services produced per employee in the United States is just a smidge over 60,000. In Omaha, it's quite a bit more than 62,000. And let me share you just a couple more here. Business climate. Cost of doing business in Omaha, 12% better than the national average. So even better than the cost of living.
I want to hear the comps.
The comps. I don't know if I gave too many of them, but there is something here that says for electricity costs, Omaha commercial electricity is 20.5% below the national average. Wow. And
now people don't understand why the data centers are flocking here. One of the reasons.
Yeah, that's a good point. Those data centers love that affordable electricity that OPPD provides. So finally, we'll talk about transportation. And it says Omaha has direct flights to more than 33 cities from Epley. And approximately 70.1 billion pounds of cargo are emplaned annually.
I thought it was a little bit more.
That's just emplaned.
Oh, emplaned, okay.
Well, who the hell comes up with some of these words?
What about entrucked?
Entrucked. You know, my bachelor's degree was in journalism. And if my journalism professors, Dick Streckfuss and Bud Pagel from the University of Nebraska, were still alive, and they heard me use the word emplaned on the radio, even though they were newspaper guys, they would probably, well, maybe they might come back from the dead and haunt myself tonight.
Yeah.
And what the emplaned? Okay, trucks can access more than 90% of the continental United States within 2 days. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
So what do you think about all that? Are you sold?
I think it is. I think that our listeners, if they're still listening, got a lot of good information.
Don't even go there. I think that was I bet you 90% or more of the people listening to this radio station appreciated those statistics.
Absolutely. If you're a hardcore listener of Groma Show, you appreciated that, ladies and gentlemen. So we thank you for staying on.
Everyone else switched channels. All right, hopefully we'll get them back after the break. When we come back, we're going to have a few things during the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight. Going to talk about a couple of pieces of construction progress. And at the end of the show, we've got the Turner Construction Lightning Round.
Absolutely.
Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
This is Eric with D&M
Good stuff.
That was funny.
For
those still listening.
I've always been a numbers guy, so it's okay.
And if you can do numbers on the radio if you're careful and
You gotta be careful, you can't overload
you
them.
got to color them a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, you did fine.
Thank you, Roger.
You did great.
What's that?
The Anderson.
D&M Roofing. Find us online at
Kelly has a dip to go.
dndmroofing.com. Let's get that fixed.
A1 United Heating
you.
and Electrical.
Who's Shelley, his wife?
From technicians to
she's
journeymen
awesome.
and install apprentices. Apply online or call 402.
We love people being addicted to the show. There needs to be more of those. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so when we come back,
You guys are just a little behind where you normally are.
Yeah.
So you wanna just watch your.
Why are you looking at her behinds, Roger?
it was just kind of fun, though, talking about the Granada Royale.
You know, no, I'm not
That
saying the
brings quite a
content
memory.
wasn't good,
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
So did you ever go to one of those illicit parties at the Granada Royale?
well, how would I know about them if I didn't?
Well, maybe people talked about them and you wished you were there.
No,
You were there.
I actually,
Panera believes in saying yes
Okay.
to the good things.
I was vice president of my class, I wasn't entirely unpopular.
So you were politically tapped in, I guess, and
Well,
part of what was
no,
happening.
because getting elected class officer is strictly a popularity contest.
Yeah,
I know that.
he was president.
Still
Well,
am.
and,
It's been a long time.
you know, I was,
Fantastic. So much better.
vice president because I didn't want to run for president because I was concerned about one guy in particular who did end up becoming the class president. And he's proven himself to be fairly successful in the rest of his life because he's the bishop of the Episcopal Archdiocese of Nebraska.
But you ran for vice president?
Yeah.
You can run for, or you didn't run? Well, I guess Gary and I kind of ran as a ticket.
You ran as a ticket. You're kind of like, Biden Harris.
Yeah, I don't know if we could run for separately though. Maybe.
Yeah, we could. We ran separately. We didn't run on any tickets.
Oh, okay.
But there was one guy that ran for president who kind of fancied us as a ticket, and he got pummeled, and I won, and so that was my fault. And then we just, it's like, what are you mad at me for? And helping nobody.
You lost fair and square.
Yeah, you lost fair and square.
Okay, so come back. We're going to mention that you can sign up for the newsletter, and then we'll just quickly drop that ACX is sponsoring the restaurant and retail section. And then I'm going to mention Bank of the West ComFed building. One of them's gone now by the Med Center.
Yeah,
the littler, newer one.
It's literally, they just about have all the debris picked up. It's almost cleared, yeah.
I'm wondering, are they for sure going to take down the one to the north? I wonder if that one might survive.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but
I think they've already taken windows out.
yeah, and I didn't know if that was because they were replacing them, but I figured it was coming down.
I'm pretty sure.
But there's a little part of me that keeps hoping it stays because I think it is a cool building.
It was, but nothing's been done for so many years that it's looking a little.
But it's one of those mid-century buildings that, 25 years ago we're like, oh my God, it's so ugly. Now they're old enough, we're like, oh, you got to keep it because it's old.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the old Northern Natural Gas building. Like years ago, I used to think it was an eyesore. Now it's old enough that it's one of the coolest buildings downtown because it's a perfect mid-century example.
Well, it's one of the taller buildings too.
And it's one of the taller buildings. Yeah.
Your voice is.
I know. I'm a ventriloquist. Yeah.
Not everyone can do that.
Well, they didn't have a new forecast for me this morning.
Everyone says they like working with a local company. Then it comes time to get that home loan.
Yeah, actually, it might be me.
He's a good guy.
Most of us ever make, and they grab their phone.
She might just have the people mixed up. She might just have the people mixed up. Okay, so we'll do all that, and then we've got some Exarban Village stuff for Novel Spot. I had dinner, Steph and I went over and had dinner with Gary last night.
Somewhere?
Yeah,
Where?
It was fun at his house.
No
Yeah.
way.
For years, he's been telling me that he makes these amazing barbecue ribs. That he has this process that he uses. Yeah, and his whole process that he uses and all that. And so, I mean, for years he's been telling me about like, we'll have you over, we'll have you over. Well, we finally did it, and they could be at a restaurant. Those things could be at. They were very good barbecue restaurant quality.
He's been working on that, the combination of oven and then grill.
He's got it perfected.
Yeah. I know he's very proud of it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now I told him he needs to make the legit sauce himself because I have the recipe for the Kansas City Barbecue Society's
Oh, no kidding.
classic masterpiece sauce.
Where'd you get that?
Guys, Untucked agrees it's
Bought a cookbook about 25 years ago.
Oh, so it was publicly
Yeah,
available.
they released it.
Huh.
The only thing that's a pain
I wouldn't
is
mind trying that sometime. See how I
I get
do.
it for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind it if you think of it.
It takes a little bit of work, and it's a little. You got to buy a lot of tones, dried, spices.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a lot of them that you probably won't use for anything but that.
Yeah.
You need cream of mustard. You need, obviously, there's a little cumin. I can't remember it.
You never have enough cumin.
It would be, to quote Dumb and Dumber, it'd be totally worth it.
It really would be. And I mean, and I have made it before.
Did it turn out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes a little effort. But
Well, on a weekend, sometimes it's kind of fun just to play hobby chef and do stuff like that. I actually love doing that kind of stuff.
it's good.
Like, oh, we're back. We gotta go to work.
Nebraska's best Husker coverage.
Yeah, I'll get you that.
Finish strong, ladies and gentlemen.
1110 KFAB.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Trenton Maggot, representing NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. If you make decisions for a commercial or residential building and you're thinking about upgrading the roof, all you have to do is talk to Eric Obremt and his team of merry roofers over at D&M Roofing. They really do an outstanding job. I mean, Trenton used them not too long ago on his own house.
Perfect job.
And if you have a commercial building, they have this really cool preventative maintenance program that has proven over the last couple of years to save commercial property managers and commercial building owners an awful lot of money. And so we strongly recommend you can find them online at dandmroofing.com. That's dandmroofing.com. All right, let's do a commercial real estate development spotlight. This is always brought to you by Noddle Companies. And, you've heard Jay Noddle on our show. He's the head of Noddle Companies, and they're doing all these cool projects in Omaha and in other states around the country. And as we've told you before, perhaps their biggest and best known project here in Omaha would be Exarban Village. And we have a couple updates for you from Exarban Village. I actually went there yesterday over the lunch hour. I had a real nice lunch at Exarban Village and had some soup and salad. I went healthy.
You didn't go smash Omaha yet.
I have not, but I walked into the Interrail food court and Smash Omaha was open, in business, and looking good, and I really, really wanted to try it. But I had a high-calorie breakfast, and I figured I better go soup and salad for lunch. But I will get to Smash. But I put my head, actually my whole body, into the Kincaidor, the new Kincaidor place. It is really nice inside. So you walk in, and right inside the door to the left they have merch. You can get the
Is this
T-shirts.
in an HDR building?
The Kincaidor is in the old Live Lounge
Right.
space. And so you can definitely tell it was Live Lounge because they haven't changed the floor plan. You went to Live Lounge.
Sure.
Remember that little room they had in the back?
Yep.
They still have that. And then like a lot of open seating area. The bar's in the same spot Live Lounge bar was. They've got the patio, but they redecorated the look so it's kind of got the Kincaidor feel to it. They have a mural on one of the back walls that's very colorful. And then they have all of the Kincaidor beers right there on tap. It's really great. And then they also have a full bar, too. You can get your cocktails and if you're not a beer
Check it
person.
out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and then the patio outside Interrail. Man, that is just a fun place.
Yeah, it is. It's just a good vibe.
Did you ever sit out there in the evening?
Yeah.
It's a fun place. And they've got yesterday was a little windy, so the fire pits weren't too populated, but I think that wind died down quite a bit last night, so I'm sure it was hopping last night. And then that pop-up park to the north, they have that
With
one
the
little
Airstream trailer.
And the Airstream trailer was open. Sonny's, they were serving food and drink out of that. But they have that little glass greenhouse.
Yeah.
And you can actually sit
Kinghorn
in
Gardens.
there. Yeah, you have a little table and chairs there. You can sit there surrounded by a jungle. And then the other thing at Exarban Village, I want to bring you up to speed, Saffron, which is the upscale Indian cuisine restaurant right next to Herb Sant, build out is well underway.
That'll be good.
I cannot wait.
I love Herb Sant.
And I can't wait for Saffron to open because I love Indian food, and I'm looking forward to trying a very gourmet version of one. And supposedly they're going to have a real nice cocktail bar there, too, which doesn't hurt either. And that is your commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies. You can learn more about Noddle Companies by going to, noddlecompanies.com. But they are a full-service real estate development company headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska. Trent and I drove by the Med Center this morning, and we told people a couple weeks ago that the old Bank of the West commercial federal building right to the south, there were two Bank of the West commercial federal buildings. The one to the south had fence around it a couple weeks ago. It's gone. That's my own sound of It is gone. So I don't know. We'll find out what the plans are for the older Bank of the West building. That is still standing, but we'll see.
The style's coming back.
Actually, I think you're 100% correct. I mean, that's kind of an historic building now, but oh well, if it goes, it goes. Life goes on. Moxie by Marriott has gone vertical downtown, and they've got the vertical supports for the ground floor. They still have
12th, 13th, and Harney.
It would be 12th, yes, 12th. It was where the old diner was located,
absolutely.
And it looks
from the
great.
National Building that's still pretty much vacant.
Yes, very much so. And then Steel House Omaha, the Steel at Steel House Omaha. It looks really cool. I mean, that's going to be a sizable building.
Erection has started, ladies and gentlemen.
That will be a sizable building, and that steel is looking pretty impressive. All right. We don't have too much time left, and we want to make sure we have enough time for the lightning round because I'm looking at the script here, and there's all sorts of items on the lightning round docket, including restaurant news. Everyone likes restaurant news. So don't go away. The lightning round from Turner Construction is just over the horizon. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI NP Dodge and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
You have someone giving you a no-cost risk
So,
assessment.
what do we have here?
You guys are going to have
Hi, this is Eric over
about
at
8
D&M
minutes.
Roofing.
7.5 days, easy.
Okay, we can do some damage with that.
Oh, yeah.
Any damage from recent storms. If
Oh,
you do,
yeah,
our
so we have to do Omaha
process.
commercial.
D&M has been a proud Omaha business since 1965.
A lot of information, Mr. Beals.
We got to be high content in this day and age. When you when you got a sponsor for everything you say,
Right.
you got to be high content.
Good point. I'm going to be like, this is the Dingman's Collision Center comment.
For $100, they can have it.
They feature generous interior storage in a variety of styles and finishes.
So, did Gary have any
11% off.
nice cocktails for you?
Yeah. And he had been building this up for the last couple of weeks, a classic martini.
Oh, yeah?
And I have not had a classic martini. Like, you get dirty martinis.
Yeah,
Arrow
no
keeps on
vermouth
saying
though.
yes to the good
With
things.
no vermouth?
Yes to
Right.
mac and
So I like
cheese.
a classic,
Yes
like
to topping it with
the
cheese.
gin, the
Amazon
vermouth,
Red.
and just
Yes,
one
putting it
single
all in the
solitary
sandwich.
olive. You like tons of them. Like, don't you like a little juice, olive juice?
Oh, a
poured
lot of
over
that's
it?
dirty.
Dirty.
That's the dirtiest.
Yeah.
Restrictions
Um,
apply.
I just thought dirty was like extra olives and a little juice, but it's lots of juice. Okay.
Depends on how dirty you want it. I like it extra dirty.
I like it clean. And so anyway, he made the perfect martini.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I think it was 3 ounces
You like 'em?
of gin. What's that? I haven't had one.
You
in a
got a
long
gin
time.
martini?
Those are the real martinis. What do you get?
Oh, there's vodka. Oh, vodka martini, gin.
Yeah, the classic martini is always gin martini, I believe.
I know that.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, it was very good. It's very strong.
Yeah, I bet it.
How many did you have?
Huh?
You have 2?
No, 1. That was enough.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here, and this is the lightning round brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction is one of the world's biggest and most influential construction firms based in New York City, and they have adopted Omaha as if it was like their hometown. They love this community and have been really rolling up their sleeves, working hard, trying to make a bigger and more accomplished and experienced construction workforce. That's no small task because unemployment in Omaha is really low. There's a shortage of people and of talent. And Turner Construction is saying, hey, for our city to keep growing, we have to have lots of outstanding construction workers and tradespeople. They're doing all of that, working with the local colleges. And let's not forget the projects. I mean, the projects they have going on in the area are really impressive. And it doesn't matter whether, you want to build something as big as the multi-billion-dollar Sarpy County data center, or you want to renovate the inside of your office building. Turner Construction does both of those things and everything in between. And we're proud to have Turner as our lightning round sponsor. Well, let's talk a little bit about restaurants. First of all, Trenton, we have Addie's Sports Bar is going to build their own building in Southwest Omaha.
Yeah, Tim Addison has done a really good job. They got that beautiful one down on 10th Street, and a few others. And this is one that in front of the old Super Saver, which is now a Nebraska Medicine facility. And this is kind of a sloped area. This is north. Most people know where the DMV is over there. But they're talking about doing a rooftop section to it. So it'll be a bar, restaurant, obviously, but the rooftop will be really cool. And it sounds like it's going to be open next year.
So the groundbreaking is expected for maybe spring or early summer, it sounds like. And this lot where they're building it's been vacant for a while, and so
for
it'll
a long
be
time.
a nice fill-in.
A client of ours had it, and it was multi-generation. And this is the last lot. The families that developed it, the Moritz and Russell families developed this area, and so it was exciting to see that last lot go.
And this presumably would replace the Addies and Old Millard.
Yes.
Okay. And then they also have locations downtown. That one downtown is really cool looking with that big patio that they have. Another really nice one that I've been to several times on 204th Street by Elkhorn South High School.
Mm-hmm.
And then one up on Maple or something like that? I believe that's where the other one is. All right. Chippy's British Market has been a smash hit since it opened last spring. In fact, I can remember when it opened, our own Brad Williams went there and shot a photo of hundreds of people
Who would have thought?
In line to go buy British stuff. And I mean, Britain's cool, and I love Great Britain, but people wait in line to buy British stuff. And apparently it's just been so popular, they decided we've got to expand. And so the owner has leased the 2 bays on either side of him. He's located in Westwood Plaza at about 123rd and West Center Road. And he's leased the 2 bays on either side of him. One, he's serving as a warehouse because he goes through the inventory so fast. Plus, he wants to open up an online option to sell all over the country. And then the other side next year is going to become a restaurant.
Wow.
So you can go get British breakfast. You can get British food. And British food is better than it is disparaged all the time to be.
Yeah, it is.
Because some of it's, let's face it, some of it's rather bland and blah, but some of it's kind of good.
If there's a 4th bay, they could open up like a orthodontia clinic or something.
Now, that's not nice.
Sorry.
No, where you're going. That is not nice to our British friends, but sometimes the truth hurts.
You watch too much Austin Powers, I guess.
And then he is also the ownership of Chippy's is planning on expanding, having bricks and mortar stores in lots of the cities around Omaha. So, yeah, I think they've stumbled onto something pretty cool. Have you been in there?
I have not.
You should pop your head in there sometime. It's really cool. I went one time and I bought a tart, baked item, and they had all sorts of candy and little treats. And
was it a sweet tart?
Yeah, it was very good. I liked it. So we have a new pizza place coming to far southwest Omaha. A lot of people, now I live in far southwest Omaha, so I used to go to Pudgy's Pizzeria.
Yeah, everybody talked about Pudgy's.
It was so good back in its day. There was a guy whose nickname was Pudgy, and he opened it. Super charismatic, friendly guy. I mean, I swear a lot of people went there just to go hang out with Pudgy. Sadly, he died of cancer, and then the place was still good. It just wasn't quite the same, and then it eventually went out of business. New one coming in called Rebel Monkey Pizza.
Sounds delicious.
And it is under development. Build out is going on. We'll talk more about it when it opens. I just got someone just sent me the name and contact information of the owner, and so we'll talk to her and get some more information and tell you more when it gets closer. But for pizza fans in far southwest Omaha, you are in luck. Omaha Bakery has opened its location in Bellevue, and they're going to have a ribbon cutting for that location on November 2nd.
That's always good.
Yeah, then they are going to keep open the new-ish location. I can't remember what that street is, but it's by it's west of the Menards at 204th and West Dodge Expressway. Mm-hmm. It's west of that, up the hill by the Mark Bowling and Entertainment Center. It's over in that area. I can't remember the name of that street.
What about
is
72nd?
it Veterans?
Did they
possibly?
close 72nd?
That's what they said when they originally announced Bellevue. I don't know if that's changed or not, but so I don't want to.
Right.
I'm always nervous about saying that a restaurant or a business closed if it hasn't, but that I know that's what they originally announced. If they haven't changed that, so Airlight Plastics is a very good Omaha company that a lot of Omaha people probably don't even know much about. They're located not far from Eppley International Airport, and they have acquired a company out of Oxnard, California called Cosmetics Specialties International. It's a leading provider of high-quality packaging to the beauty and personal care industry.
Hopefully they bring more jobs to Omaha.
I suspect there's a chance, but that's always good. It's always good to see the Omaha company on the acquiring side.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't see it all the time.
The equation. Yeah, we prefer it when it goes that way. And then I want to talk to you about real estate markets. There was a study that came out, not a study, a report that came out just within the last week from the National Association of Realtors. So this is NAR's Commercial Market Insights report, says that Omaha is one of the 10 top real estate markets in the United States right now.
I believe it. We see a ton of activity. The commercial side's just as busy as the residential.
Music's done. We're out of here. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, NAI NP Dodge, and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
All right, that music all of a sudden started, and I was like, oh, crap.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.